Hi everyone, we're gonna give people a few minutes to join back in, but welcome to our second workshop of GFB Con. It'll be exploring business in high school. So we'll wait a few more seconds. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get started now. So if you're here again, you'll remember that I'm Sophie, and I'm a co-director of outreach at Girls for Business, and I'll also be one of your co-hosts for today's event. We're so excited to see you guys, and we thank you so much for joining us today. So to get warmed up again, we like doing a little interaction in the chat. If you guys could type your name, grade, and your favorite thing about this weekend, so we can learn a little bit more about you guys, that would be awesome. So yeah, I'm Sophie and I am a senior. I would say my favorite thing about this weekend is probably the fact that I get a break. I started school last week, so this is my first weekend. And yeah, give you guys a second to do that. Okay, and while everyone is introducing themselves, I can segue into our workshop. So today at Exploring Business in High School, we will have our very own 3 co-founders of GFB share how to seek out business-related opportunities in high school. And some of the topics that will be covered will range from internships to finding jobs, and from joining school clubs to launching your own business. So we're so excited to have them share with us today, and we hope you enjoy. I'll pass it on to Angelica to give the rundown for today.
All right. Thank you so much, Sophie. I'm Angelica. If you guys don't remember, I'm also an outreach co-director. I'm doing the slides today, so you might have seen them move a little bit. That's all my bad, but hopefully I'll get the hang of it a little bit better. But just to go over today's event structure, first, I'll be briefly introducing our organization, but I know a lot of you guys were here already, so I'll just be doing that super quickly. But then our panelists will be sharing a little bit more about themselves and their experiences, and then we'll segue into the main portion of our event, which is our panel discussion with some of the questions that we received from you guys in our event RSVP form, and also live questions that we'll take from you guys during today's discussion. And then we'll wrap up at around 1:45, hopefully, Eastern Standard Time, with panelist contact information and also how to get more involved with Girls for Business if you haven't heard it already. And of course, we'll take the Zoom group photo as all of our workshops during this. So without further ado, a little bit more about Girls for Business. You can look on the screen for a little brief rundown, but we do business mentorship, we do bi-weekly newsletters and community initiatives. We provide free one-on-one mentorship to over 150 student mentors, and we also produce those newsletters with accessible media content and host monthly events like the event that you're at today, and also annual conferences like the conference that you're at today, but we also just have monthly events on a regular basis too. So through our community initiatives, we've been able to build a community of girls to over 40 countries internationally. And we're super excited that you're all here. I know you guys are all kind of younger because this is about business in high school. So props to all of you for getting a head start in business, or if you're just here like finding out more about high school in general, extracurriculars, things like that. We super appreciate you guys being here. So today you'll be hearing from the founders of Girls for Business itself, Rachel, Ivy, and Sophia. And our panelists will be introducing themselves and sharing their general experiences a little bit more in the next few slides. So first I'll pass it over to Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Angelica, for that intro. I'm Rachel. I'm the founder and executive director of Girls for Business. So a little bit about my experiences. I co-founded this organization with Sophia and Ivy in June of 2020. So it's been around 2 years of its founding. So I've worked a lot with the organization's growth strategies. I have experience with ideating an organization if anyone has any questions about that. Other than GFB, I'm also involved with DECA. This year, I've been serving as the Maryland State Association president of DECA. So leading all of the school chapters in Maryland DECA, hosting our statewide events, and also working on recruitment for additional school chapter development. This summer and the past summer, I served as a finance intern at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. So I worked a lot in Excel, building cost center reports, and kind of immersing myself in the office experience. And then other than that, I've also worked as a research assistant for university studies. So this past summer, I've been working with a professor at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, studying mergers and acquisitions. And then last summer, I also served as a research intern, looking more into venture capital and also the government procurement process, which for those of you who might not know, government procurement is the process in which the government seeks for suppliers, especially startups and innovative startup tech companies, to seek some of these solutions for some of the projects that the government does contracting work for. And then other than that, I've also worked at a small business before, working in particularly marketing and business development. And outside of these experiences, I really enjoy music. I play the flute for my state's youth orchestra. I'm also involved in a lot of journalism organizations. I love writing, and I also stay active with tennis. So if anyone has any questions later on about any of these experiences, particularly how to get an internship or the office experience as working as an intern or getting more involved with student impact organizations, feel free to pop those in the chat or PM me as well. I'd love to get back to you on that, but I will pass it on to Angelica again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. And I'll just give it right back to Sophia, one of the other co-founders of Girls for Business, to introduce herself as well. Okay, I'm not sure why Ivy's slide came next, but Sophia will be speaking.
Yeah, thank you so much, Angelica. So I'm one of the co-founders and co-directors operations of Girls for Business. And yeah, we basically host and we also work with the team to make sure that we have great events for you guys. And I also work closely with the finance team as well. Along with that, I'm currently an operations assistant at 𝐁𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐧𝐠 Consulting, which is a small business based in New York. So I basically handle the schedules and I organize the team as well as finalizing all of the social media content and the blog content before it gets posted. So it's been really cool to work in real world situations and also just get to talk to other people who are interested in business as well. And last month, I was an advisor for the University of DC International Business and Global Entrepreneurship Camp. I know the title is kind of a handful, but it was really fun. I basically just advise them and like give them on tips on how to pitch yourself and also how to present before the competition, because this camp was just like a preparation for the UDC competition for all DC students. So it was really fun to also get to network and meet all the professors at the UDC to talk about what they look for in students, at least like for students to prepare for the real world and to like get job interviews. Last summer, I was a creative design intern at Women's Entrepreneurs International. So I was in charge of social media content and also like the social media scheduling, as well as the director of finance at the 2 a.m. Post. So I was in charge of fundraising as well as grant research. But yeah, I'll pass it back to Angelica.
Great, thank you so much, Ivy. Thank you so much, Sophia. Guys, there's too many things going on. Thank you so much, Sophia. But now I want to introduce Ivy. That's where I was going. Last but not least, to introduce herself as well.
Yeah, thank you, Angelica. I don't know if my slide, okay, there it is. Hi, I'm Ivy. I'm also one of the co-founders and co-director of operations of Girls for Business.
So yeah, all three of us have been involved in the startup process for Girls for Business through like interviews, building up our team, finding passionate members and stuff like that. So if you have any questions regarding like starting up your own nonprofit or organization, feel free to ask us later. With Girls for Business, I'm mainly involved with outreach and PR. And currently, I go to a boarding school in Hong Kong, but I am originally from Michigan. And in Hong Kong in the past year, I've worked as a research assistant in the Artificial Intelligence and IoT lab of the Chinese University of Hong Kong. So I'm actually really interested in like the intersection of technology and business, which is why my extracurriculars are kind of surrounding both CS and business. But at the 𝐂𝐲𝐸𝐧𝐠, I'm basically working with some machine learning and AI algorithms. And then I've also worked as a research assistant in the close relationships lab of MSU, which is a local university in Michigan. And with this, I've done some data analysis and statistics research that was kind of related to a psychological study. At my school, I am currently the leader of the Social Innovation Network group, which is basically a group or club at our school that looks at like local nonprofits as well as startups that focus on social impact and kind of help them and help them to grow as well as learn from them. And then we also help our group members to build their own nonprofits or social innovation based startups. And finally, this year I'm actually starting a QC, which is like what we call the official clubs at our school, that's surrounding programming. So I'm going to be a founder and leader of that. And then we're going to try to tie programming to community service aspects, as well as hosting a hackathon and building an app for our school. So if you have any questions about like the intersection of technology and business, or just about any of my extracurriculars at all, feel free to ask later on today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. We'll be transitioning to our panel discussion now, where our three panelists will dive deeper into their personal experiences and hopefully give you guys some insight about how to pursue business as a high schooler. So we'll first get started with some of our frequently asked questions from our RSVP form. Rachel, Sophia, and Ivy, whenever you guys, whenever a question particularly speaks out to you, just feel free to chime in and speak up for it. So our first question from our RSVP form is, how can you best take advantage of your senior year in the realm of business?
Okay, I can start by taking this question. So I think in your senior year, it's most important to, while you're also balancing college applications, also seek out, if you have any time, extra time, to seek professional involvements. So for me personally, my plans in senior year are to continue on a research internship that I've had in the past, and also be able to juggle those involvements by also planning for my future, in which I hope to pursue business-oriented studies. So I've been looking into business programs at different undergraduate programs, and also some forecasting into a future MBA program, which I also aspire to do. And I think in particular for involvements at the professional level, it's great to contact startups in your area or local small businesses. I think that's the best bet to get immediate like professional experiences. It also depends on your interests. If you're more interested in seeking out how business is usually applied at the university level research process, I would suggest also cold emailing different professors. One resource that I really recommend is searching up the faculty list for each university. If you just Google search the university name that you're interested in and a particular division or a sector of their university teaching department, I think you'll be able to find all of the contacts of those professors. Cold emailing is a really great way to get in touch with some of the leading professionals in their field, and being able to kind of dive into the straightforward educational components of business that you can seek out. Yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Rachel. And like as for cold emailing for like research opportunities, that's basically how I and a lot of the people I know that have gotten research opportunities in high school land them. So don't be scared to just like search up the list and email, and you might have to go through like tens or even like over 100 people to wait for someone to respond. But just don't give up. And there's always people that are willing to help you and support your research or have you support their research. And furthermore, like I think for senior years specifically, the time after college applications is really key to like seeking out more professional experience. So when most people are done with their college apps in around January, you have the entire chunk from January to August before you have to like enter university. And I think during that time is a really good chance to get into research, get into internships, or maybe even like have your own startup. So for me, I'm planning to hopefully like um further like ideate a startup in that time and maybe like get more into it during university, um, or like work on an internship. And I think that throughout those times, not only like is it a chance to relax after the stressful college app season, but it's also a chance for you to continue what you've been doing, also start some new things because it's really like a time where there's kind of no stress, I guess, externally. But yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Rachel and Ivy said about cold emailing. But just also in general, I think getting a job would also be really great because you get to go like in person and also just see whether it's like a fast food restaurant or any job like that, you get to see like how the business is working there and how people work together for like certain situations, which I think is really great. On top of like cold emailing, just like reaching out to startups, local startups and also local businesses just to get more in-person experience. And also, even if you don't like get a job there, it would be great. You know, you can always ask for like internship or even to shadow them just to see what it's like to lead a business. And I think that's also a really great opportunity. Ivy was really right about like after college apps and everything, you're pretty much just chilling. And I think that's like a really great time to just explore all of your options and get like an internship or also just reach out to people and just cold email as many people as you can and as many companies as you can, because it's going to take a long time before you do get a yes or get accepted or even get a response. But yeah.
All right, thank you so much, guys. I couldn't find my unmute button again, but those were all really great responses to that question. Another really popular question was how to get involved or just more involved in school clubs, internships in like high school, maybe going into high school, or just around this age in general, and how to seek out opportunities that sort of demonstrate your passion and apply to your interests without much experience, I think is what multiple of these questions is getting at.
Yeah, I can go first. I really don't think when you cold email and you say that you're a high schooler, they expect like you to have a lot of experience because they know that you're really young. So definitely showing that you're really passionate and willing to learn is something that you can use that for your advantage. Another thing is I guess like also going into business clubs like DECA or FBLA, you have a lot of resources and a lot of people who are interested in the same thing. So you learn more of like how to get an internship or learn more of like how to cold email. So it's just like you have a lot of support and you just get a lot more resources and network of like how to get an internship or a specific job in a specific business sector.
Yeah, adding on to that, I think at the beginning, it's also really important to utilize your connections. A lot of people say like the phrase like it's not what you know, but the people you know. And I think that while what you know is very important, the connections do really come in handy, especially for like internship or research opportunities. If you like reach out to your friends and their parents or just your own parents and kind of leverage that network, you never know like the amount of people that they might know. Like personally, my very first research experience, it wasn't on my slide, but it was at another local university in Michigan. like that was through some connections I had. So then after getting that experience, it was much easier to cold email in the future because they saw that I already had some experience. And then as for high school clubs, like Sophia said, DECA, FBLA, business clubs in the US are very popular for that. But if you are studying internationally, for example, like in Hong Kong, there's no such thing as DECA or FBLA, and there are no big like business competitions. If you see that there is a lack of something in your school that you're interested in, never hesitate to like start something on your own. So for me, like there was nothing STEM related or like programming related at my school, and that's something I'm really interested about. So I wanted to tie that into the school so other people that are also interested in that can have like something that they can be a part of in the future as well.
I 100% agree with both Sophia and Ivy's points about school clubs and their value. I think clubs are the best way to first kind of get yourself immersed into business if you're totally unsure of, because it really isn't traditionally covered in like school learning content. So yes, I would definitely push forward DECA and FBLA that have been already mentioned. You should check out if your school has any clubs that are economics related or like more niche business clubs. I know another popular one is BPA, which is Business Professionals of America, if that's offered at your school. But I think for me, the timeline that I used was that I used my freshman year in high school and a little bit of sophomore year too to get immersed in these more so business clubs. So I kind of got like a footing into like learning more about like what business was all about and what kind of careers or pathways I could potentially like seek out in the future. And then like the second half of sophomore year going to junior and now my senior year, it's been more focused on seeking out various like professional experiences, kind of getting myself fully immersed into what it would be like to actually work in business. So I think having like a timeline like that, like a plan to like follow your journey into business is also really important. But I think just like the best starting point would definitely any clubs or local like student-based organizations that you can get involved in to kind of start your seek into business.
Thank you guys. Those are some great responses. For our next question, what are some of the ways that you can find out which area of business you want to study in college, like as a high schooler? How do you kind of single out which sector you want to go into?
I can start with that. So first of all, I actually don't think that you need to know exactly which sector you want to go into before going into college, because I think, especially if you're going to like an undergrad business school, that's kind of your opportunity to explore these sectors. But if you do want an opportunity, like the business clubs and local organizations that we just talked about are a great opportunity for you to kind of experience different sectors or like seeking out different professional opportunities. So maybe like an internship in marketing, and then trying out some finance. I think that's kind of how you can like eliminate stuff that you don't like and realize your passion for stuff that you do really like. Because at the end of the day, I feel like you really don't know until you try it hands-on. So it's really just about like, I guess, trying everything that you can or want to. But I really don't think there is that much pressure to single out like a specific sector that you want to do, because you always have your time in undergrad to do that. However, if you do find something that you are really passionate about in high school, you can continue to like take it one step further and seek out more opportunities in that field specifically. And you'll also find a lot of sub fields like within that big sector. So that's always like a chance for you to explore further.
Adding on to Ivy a bit, I would also say student organizations are also a really great resource. So if you're just starting out into business and you're not really comfortable yet, like fully like seeking a professional experience, like a research internship or just a general internship position, I would recommend first starting out to see if you can get yourself involved in like local student-based organizations or nonprofits, such as Girls for Business, for example. You have a lot of different positions, I find, at the these organizations, because there are like so many diverse roles you can get immersed in. Like I think drawing from our own team and like a lot of teams that I've seen in the student nonprofit world, there's positions related to public relations, there's positions like outreach, finance, writing. So there's like a large breadth of areas that you can first get yourself involved in building up like your soft skills, but also some of your core skills before you might feel ready to take that next step and seek out like the professional position. So I think it all depends on where you're at in your business search, but I think getting involved in student-based nonprofits is a great way as well. Also a good opportunity to seek out other students like yourself to serve as more approachable mentors, I would say, to guide you for the next few years in high school.
Great. Thank you so much, all of you guys, for answering that. Oh, wait, Sophia, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to add on. They all have really valid points. I think another thing is that also using your connections as well. If you know people who are in the business sector and you're interested in what they do, that's also a great way to like connect them on LinkedIn, or if they're like a family friend, just ask them during like an outing or something like that. For me personally, I got really interested in certain sectors of business just through researching like certain majors. That was just like really interesting to know, like, oh, what kind of majors would prepare you for what certain job, and so that helped a lot.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much. I did want to do a time check because we are nearing around 1:30, and I want to make sure we get some live questions. If anyone has any questions you want to ask to our panelists now, you can feel free to put them in the chat or private message me or Sophie if you would like to. I can pull from one more RSVP question before we get into that, just to wait for responses. Another one that was popular with actually all of our workshops was, what is one of the most highly valued skills or skills that are most important, I guess, to develop at a younger age, going into business and going into eventually college, but also just even in high school in general.
I can start again. I think in high school, if you could, like, developing technical skills will really, really benefit you, especially as you're cold emailing and seeking out these opportunities. So you can build these technical skills through like taking external classes that are for free online, or like taking AP classes or higher level classes that kind of get you into that realm, and then further seeking out like learning opportunities past that. So by technical skills, they can involve like data analysis skills, like I guess stuff relating to numbers, because having that gives the people that you're cold emailing to, like, I guess a solid reason to recruit you, because you're able to provide this skill and like actually contribute that in their startup or in their organization or at their lab. But I also think that soft skills wise, in high school, it's a really good opportunity for you to practice like public speaking, getting more comfortable reaching out to people that you don't know. That can be done through LinkedIn, like getting a chance to talk to people and learning how to like network and connect with people, as well as like applying to organizational positions such as like Girls for Business or other nonprofits that are in high school. And I think through like applying, through doing interviews and seeking out like coffee chats with people, you can really develop those personable skills, as well as learn like how to improve on your interviews. And furthermore, like, let's say you interview for a position but you don't get it, I think it would be really beneficial to maybe reach back out to them and like seek some feedback so you can learn from that in the future. Because I think in high school, like, it's just a really good chance to learn from your failures. I mean, that applies all throughout life, but especially now, and just kind of trying to build those both hard and soft skills.
Yeah, adding on to what Ivy said, I think soft skills are really important, especially if you're a freshman or a sophomore. You don't have that much experience to begin with, so you're really selling yourself through like your confidence and your passion for like willing to learn and stuff. So I think being able to communicate what you want them to know about you is really important, and also just being able to network, and yeah, that's how you gain all the like experience and be able to improve on your technical skills, which is also just as important as well.
I think Ivy and Sophia pretty much covered everything perfectly. I would again emphasize on the importance of developing personal relations with others, developing those soft skills. I think really valuable skills to have are your outreach skills, your ability to present confidently and develop your voice. I think that really puts you over an edge if you're comparing like similar skill sets across the board. And again, like Ivy said, I think developing a sense of technical skills is really important too, because I found through career research that it's really important to have that kind of an edge if you're in a job market that everyone is like really popular with, but it's also like a good like selling factor if you like have like some niche in like healthcare sciences or something like that. I remember one of our first panelists, I think, with Girls for Business, she had studied management, but before that she had done like hard sciences, a lot of like healthcare industry related studies, and it was very STEM and engineering based. And she was able to implement that into her own career in pursuing a future startup that I think really gave her an edge in her like further career studies. I think she's doing really well at a position now, but I think that is just one example of how hard skills can definitely set you apart from others when you do come to that point where you're seeking for a job.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think hopefully our participants here can work on those soft and hard skills to better prepare us for the future and stuff. But since we haven't really had any live questions dropped in the chat, I'll just take some more off from our RSVP form. So what were some of the challenges you guys faced as founders of a student nonprofit, like because you were still in high school? I think maybe some of our participants were interested in maybe starting their own type of nonprofit or maybe even like club.
I think in the beginning for us, it was like all about timing. Our meetings were supposed to only be 30 minutes, and then we find like other things to talk about, and then it would end up to being like an hour and a half. So really just like efficient timing and just efficient planning was a little bit difficult for us in the beginning. And then also just communicating. It's just, you think that everyone in the team would know like what you're thinking, and then in reality, they of course don't. So it's part of like really clear communication, and also just good timing for everyone, so we don't waste any time, and we just get everything done on time as well.
I think adding on to that, in the very beginning, we were planning out like different initiatives, and we had like a lot of ideas for like how we could kind of structure the organization. So I think definitely, like Sophia said, like clearer communication within our team and kind of establishing the vision, like the common vision that all of us had, and in order to narrow down the programs that we wanted to focus on and be able to better devote resources to was really important for us. Definitely, I think quality over quantity any day. And it's important for a team to be centralized insofar that everyone has like the same vision of how we want things to be aligned. So I think one particular instance was that we had a different, like members of our team had different visions for our expansion strategy, whether we should market to, I think, schools, a school group, or we should more particularly apply to individuals who wanted to join the team. So I think after like communication, we were able to centralize on like one strategy. We ended up first recruiting with individual members first, and we were able to concentrate our whole team's resources on that particular area, and best to make sure that we had the full growth opportunity for that. So I think taking it one step at a time, talking it out with your team members is really good to establishing a clear vision for where you want your organization to kind of develop and grow.
Yeah, I fully agree with everything that Rachel and Sophia just said. And I think another challenge is like establishing a boundary between like being friendly and being authoritative. I think especially in high school, that's pretty difficult to do just because you guys are all at like a young age, and a lot of the times like you're utilizing connections. So a lot of people within the team might already know each other and be like friendly or acquaintances. And I think in these moments, like it's important to establish that while like everyone can be friendly with each other to establish like better relationships within the team, it's also important to set boundaries and authoritative guidelines to everyone's role so that like when deadlines are not met or when like someone is not fulfilling their responsibilities, they actually uh, kind of like follow up on that, and it isn't just brushed off like, oh, it's okay, I know you, so we don't have to worry about it. So I think it's really important to establish that from the beginning. um and then another thing is like if you do have a high school organization, something that you can do is like build an advisory board. So that's something that we're currently working on. And I think having like higher level professionals and like alumni of your organization that have now gone on to college help you and provide their new insights is really beneficial, because at the end of the day, like in high school, starting a business for the first time, like you definitely don't know everything and you can always learn from other people. And even just like seeking out connections on LinkedIn and maybe talking to a few people, you can learn a lot from their experiences and grow your organization through that.
All right, thank you guys so much. I think we might have time for one more question. One question that we got was, what resources or platforms have helped you the most throughout your high school experiences and also experiences as young entrepreneurs?
For me to like get to know and learn more about organizations and also just like internship opportunities, TikTok and Instagram has been really nice because they all promote now on these social media platforms. So it was really, so I just see them on my For You page and stuff, and then I just like learn more about it, and then I would like DM them and stuff and learn more about their organization or the internship positions and stuff. Another really good platform would be LinkedIn, because you get to connect to people and also ask them questions one-on-one and just have like a more in-depth conversation with professionals or college students, and just learn more about like real world experiences and also like what they do on during like their daily tasks for their jobs.
For me as well, LinkedIn has been the most helpful in learning more about my own career. I started my own LinkedIn when I think I was a sophomore, but it was really nice, I think, particularly to be able to connect with different high school students I met people from all across the United States and also some international, who had like-minded like business aspirations, or if not, just like interests in furthering student impact organizations, which was really cool for me to see, having personally resonated with that. And I think something that Ivy actually alluded to in the chat earlier was coffee chats. So with LinkedIn, you're able to schedule these one-on-one, they're called coffee chats, which you can just private message someone that you're interested in connecting with. And I think these calls are a really great way to immerse yourself in someone else's own kind of professional and I guess extracurricular journeys and thoughts. I've met really cool individuals through these calls that are self-initiated, learning more about why people choose to like start the ventures that they do, or look into research in the particular areas that they're interested in. I think it's really an inspirational platform through these coffee chats and through LinkedIn in general, just to be able to see what other people are doing, where their inspirations derive from, and kind of use that passion to propel you in your own like similar ventures.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that was said about LinkedIn as well as social media platforms. And I think another resource that has really helped is actually Slack. So Slack is basically like a more professional version of Discord, where a lot of organizations or communities kind of form like a Slack channel, and within this, or a Slack community, and within this community, there are various channels where people talk about opportunities, get chances to network, and a lot of organizations use Slack to actually run their organization. So for us, we have a Girls for Business Slack community actually, and that's where a lot of people within our community that want to get involved or just learn more about business can kind of get to know each other as well as share opportunities within the business field. So I think that like joining different platforms like this, and also like if you're starting a nonprofit, using this platform is really beneficial. And then another platform, like if you're interested in like tech in business, would be called Slingshot. It's like a tech internship website where you can like kind of use your technical skills and then apply to like actual paid for jobs. And I think it's really beneficial if you want to get that technical experience from the start.
Yeah, that was some really helpful advice. Unfortunately, I think we're nearing the end of our workshop time, so we're going to go ahead and conclude our discussion and Q&A. So Angelica, if you could start screen sharing the slide again, we'll put up our panelists' contact info, so you guys can copy that down and ask questions at a later time if you come up with them. So we'll leave it on this side for a couple of seconds, and then we'll wrap up with a picture.
You can become, oh, sorry. You can become a mentee. Our mentee applications are open year round for middle and high school students. You can also subscribe to our mailing list to get biweekly business newsletters featuring news and business, valuable career tips. And you can also join our team if you're interested, or become a Girls for Business ambassador. There are open roles currently. And you can also join the community Slack that Ivy mentioned to connect with girls with similar interests all over the world. So that invitation is also in the bottom left-hand corner. And you can scan the QR code on the screen to access any of these links. So I think that brings us to the end of Exploring Business in High School. Thank you so much to the three of our panelists for coming out today, even though you're also just on the conference the entire day. Thank you for all of your hard work, and Girls for Business would not be here without you because you founded it, but thank you for all of your hard work for these past few years, and it's always been a pleasure to work with you guys. I'm sure everyone learned a lot about your experiences and how to navigate high school, hopefully, especially for our younger participants. If you want to be tagged in the Instagram picture, feel free to leave your Instagram handle in the chat. And I hope you guys had a really good time at this workshop. Feel free to stay in our waiting room. We'll move you guys if you don't want to leave the group, leave the Zoom. We can move you to the waiting room for our next workshop in 15 minutes, which is a networking event. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to stay behind the chat with us. But if not, we can move you over to the waiting room. And thank you all so much for coming.